Gorilla Comm going 10.8. It's 51 degrees right now inside my garage here, and I have to clean this place up. I got rid of some furniture, and I just gotta organize a bit more here, do some future projects. It's pretty nippy in here, and I wanted to be a little bit warmer, so I want to fire up my Hunter SHA heater, Army surplus heater. SH meaning Space Heater Arctic, and I featured this 3-4 years ago, I would say 3, on the operations of it. And so I guess this will be a 3-year update on how it's doing. I strictly burn liquid fuel, and the two type of fuels that I use mostly is kerosene and diesel. Lately it's been diesel, which I carry in this canister right here. Depending on the year, diesel sometimes is cheaper than kerosene, and kerosene sometimes is cheaper than diesel. But lately diesel's been beating it out. So that's what I use mostly. I am capable of burning coals and wood, but I don't because of I don't want to fire watch this all the time, feeding it wood all the time. I can always use this grate in here, convert it into solid fuels, and it works just fine. But when I come into the garage, I'm doing projects. I don't want to mess around with the stove, so I stick to the fuel because it's low maintenance, or hardly any maintenance at all. Pretty much just set it up and let it go. So after 3 years, I really haven't done any maintenance to this, and I should have. This summer, I guess, when the season's over, I'm gonna go ahead and clean it out, get the rust out. There's a little bit of rust here. I don't know how well this could pick up. That heat sink that you see in there is just some solid material to retain a bit more heat inside. As soon as the fire goes out, it cools off really quickly. The metal is no thicker than average ammo can steel. Maybe a hair thicker, but not much more. But yeah, this thing has been working for me really well. And right now I got it set up for fuel burning here. And what I have to do is put this plate on the front there and close the lid. And since I was installed this 3 years ago, it really hasn't changed. The stove pipe is coming up, and then I got it transitioning into this exhaust piping here. It's double walled. It's going through my roof there, and I could almost guarantee that it's not up to code, but it's in my garage, and I really don't care. I mean, it's been safe all these years so far, and this is meant to be moved inside the house or anywhere in the house in case of emergencies. Haven't had any emergencies, so it stays in the garage so I could do some work. For me, this is meant to be mobile within the house. Put it in the room that it needs it. I do have a fireplace inside, and that takes care of half the house, but the other half is still kind of cold. Now usually this works with a fuel can and not this old style jerry can here. It uses the plastic jerry cans that's meant for fuel. And let's make pretend this is a full-size plastic jerry can. It has this adapter here that you place on there. It's not going to fit this, of course. And hook up the hose to it and elevate the can, and it feeds gasoline, 5 gallons of gasoline. Well, not gasoline, of diesel. I did not like the idea of having a 5-can jug tipped over and feeding the fire here. I wanted something more manageable, so I got this fuel can, this drip torch can from a yard sale for 20 bucks. They usually go for 170. I think they're for sale now for 120 when I last looked it up. So this drip torch could be stowed within the can just like so for safe storage, and then capped off, and it's sealed so there won't be any leaks. But when it's being used, this goes on top here, and then you secure it down with this ring here, and you could be able to set fires with this if you're in the fire service, backfires for combating fires and whatnot. You see this I think could be modified to where I could place a an adapter there and then do the various adaptations so it'll fit my hose here to feed the stove. But after looking at this is the plastic jerry can kit that came with the SHA, and you have this quick release adapter there to hook up the hose and so forth. One day I was looking at it and I was like, I wonder if this thing actually fits this room over here. And sure enough, it fits in there. So I just position this over like this. Actually, the plastic here fits over the O-ring inside here just right. And it's a perfect fit. This is somewhat of a siphon air hose here, where if you loosen it up, it'll let air come down when you tip it over, so it won't, you know, it'll have that free-flowing motion of the liquid coming out instead of gulping. So I hang the can up there by the rafters, and it's got a convenient handle there, and it's long enough to where when I tip it over, it'll tip over just right to where it'll start to, the fuel will start to come out. But then if I don't need to use the fuel anymore, I could always tip it back and bring it somewhat upright so it won't leak the fuel out anymore. So this has been pretty convenient for me. And then I go ahead and tip it over, and as you can see, it's tipping over just fine. And this little knob here, I'll just turn it just a little bit to get some air flowing, so the fuel will start feeding the stove efficiently. On the controls there, this is always on, this on and off button there. There is a maintenance memo saying that this should be on at all times, because if you close it, the gumming of the fuel, liquid fuel that you use, will make that stick closed. So they recommend leaving it on all the time. Diesel doesn't burn by itself. It needs compression or really high heat, so you can't really ignite diesel with just a plain match. So I got some denatured alcohol here. Gas will do as well. Piece of tissue paper and just drop it in there just to ignite it. And there it is. Close this there, and in no time it should start sparking up. And thereafter, the denatured alcohol or whatever other flammable you use to prime the burner gets done. I mean, it's burning diesel fuel right now. It's primed and it's ready to go. And as you can see, this is the high setting, and it's burning pretty good, and instantly you get heat, not only from the box assembly itself, but also the stovepipe within the room here. So that's emanating quite a bit of heat as well. So on a good 30 degrees outside, it gets up to 70 in here, in this space here. And this space here, there's no insulation on the walls, just maybe a quarter of it. Aluminum garage doors, no insulation on the ceiling there. And after 3 years, I still haven't insulated this place the way I would like it. This can here, it holds 1.25 gallons worth of fuel. So it's topped off right now. It's just started, and I'm gonna go ahead and let it go until it dies out on me, just to see how long it'll last. So it's 13:45 right now. We're just gonna let it go until it dies and see how long this fuel will last us. 1.25 gallons worth of fuel. And I have the setting here on full blast for this temperature setting here. Above -25 degrees Fahrenheit, and the knob there, the heat output is too high, and it is adjustable. This is one of the main reasons why I like this stove better than the EMCOMM 1950. The fuel management is more efficient, and you don't need to babysit. I mean, I could literally walk away and forget about this. I'm not going to, but I don't need to turn around every 20 minutes to see how the fuel level is doing, or if this is getting too hot or going out on me. it's literally no maintenance whatsoever. I like using the liquid fuel too because it's cleaner. I don't have to clean up as much, and there will be no creosote on the stovepipe there, so the stovepipe will be easier to clean. I haven't cleaned this in 3 years, and the pipe is totally smooth and somewhat clean with just a little bit of soot inside. Oh, there's no smoke coming out of it. It burns efficiently. Everything's burned. Even if I was burning wood, once it gets going, there's hardly any smoke being emanated from the stovepipe. Only in the beginning and towards the end when the wood pretty much dies out. When you first spark up the diesel, you get a little bit of smoke, but maybe a minute's worth, and then it's gone completely. With this air hose, sometimes there's a little bit of fuel inside the tube itself, so when you first undo the air hose, you get whatever fuel that was left within the tube sort of leak out of this end here. But once it's absorbed by this napkin here, there's no leakage whatsoever. And as a precaution, I just have this down in the bottom here to catch any drips on that side there. One other problem too is you can't leave this assembly as you see it here once you turn off the stove there, because there's something about this mechanism here. You get somewhat of an overflow nozzle here, and it hooks up to another hose, but I just have this pan here to collect whatever overflow I get coming out of here. But the overflow usually does not happen unless the heater's completely off and there's pressure on this line here feeding the regulator. So even if you have this switch off here and everything turned to low or the lowest setting, there's still somewhat of a flow of fuel here, and it will go out this overflow outtake here. But if you just let it run and die when the fuel is exhausted, then there's no problem whatsoever. There's no fuel coming out of this little nipple here at all. That is another reason why I want to use the 1 gallon jug up there, or can, for better fuel management. This is the only viewport that you'll get, and it's made out of some sort of tempered glass. But you also have some sort of a plate here for light discipline too. It needs some sort of air pressure for this thing to work efficiently, so it has to be sealed up. As you can see there, it started smoking a little bit. Fuel was being collected down on the bottom port there, that's why it kind of flared up like that. But since I don't have like that air sort of flow going to it, it didn't burn it efficiently until I closed the lid here. You can boil some water on here. And you could probably maybe even fry an egg or two, but doing a pot roast or something like that is not going to do it for you. So this thing has been leak proof so far in 3 years. This connection here, no leakage either. And yeah, once this thing aired out, there's no leaks up there either. Well, this guy is dying out. That's pretty much the last of the fuel there before it snuffs itself out. This can of 1 gallon and a quarter of diesel fuel lasted 7 hours and 20 minutes on full blast of the regulator here. So yeah, this is gonna die any moment now. It's not really producing much heat. It's still hot to the touch, but it's done. So this thing lasted 7 hours practically, 7 hours and 20 minutes. Kept the inside the garage here pretty warm. So that's the 3-year update of the usage of my Army surplus Hunter SHA heater. Gorilla Comm going 10-10.